Okay, if everything has gone according to plan, and I cannot guarantee that, we should be live on YouTube. As you probably already noticed, I'm not in my regular office. I am currently in Poland for a couple of days, so I'm doing the live stream from here. And you may remember, I think like last year we tried to do a live stream from here via Starlink, which you just got installed. It didn't go too well, mostly because of just the fact that my laptop could not handle streaming it. It wasn't even just the internet that was bad. Though, okay, it is pretty bad even with Starlink. It is at least better. But now, if you watch that video about the external Radeon RX 7800M GPU, you can see that that's doing all of the actual encoding now, which means that hopefully there won't be any issues with the stream not even being able to be sent out properly. Well, okay, encoding should be fine. The issue could be on the Starlink end of things, because it still isn't the best. When I was doing some testing beforehand, I was getting speeds anywhere from around 15 to 25 megabits per second. That is not the best for a live stream. Even already I can see we're getting quite a few frame drops, so we just have to hope that it doesn't get too much worse. That it is pretty much as good as it is. We can technically, I think, take down the bitrate a bit more, just to kind of help it out a bit. But hopefully that's not going to impact the video too much. Again, just doing what I can. But the fact that I'm in Poland could not stop our annual Prime Day live streams, so that's exactly what we'll be doing today. So you know the rules by now. We are only going with PC parts that are as part of the Prime Day sales, and we have a strict budget to stick to. So usually it's around $1,500 or so. That's what we're going to be sticking to today as well, unless anyone has any kind of other suggestions. So I think we can just go straight into it. The I'm just seeing if the dropped frames have kind of stabilized a bit. They pretty much have. Again, don't blame me, blame Elon that Starlink is still not able to even get a decent enough upload rate going. The downloads are fine. The downloads are like in the range of like 200 to 300 megabits per second. It's the uploads that it still very much struggles with. It's almost as bad as a pre-Starlink internet here. But anyway, let's just get started, and I think let's just go with... Should we go motherboard first and see what CPUs are available, or CPU? Let's go motherboard first. See what's available, and then pick our CPU based on that. Why is one the first thing that comes up? It's technically a motherboard, but it's not the kind of one that we're interested in here. Frames seem a bit better now. Good, awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, so for my testing so far, the external GPU has been pretty good when it comes to actually encoding the stream. It's just about if Starlink is actually going to survive it. I've even plugged it in via Ethernet. You can get one like an Ethernet adapter, so you can actually plug in a regular RJ45 cable into that. So hopefully that's also going to make it that it's decent, but the issue is that it's still not great. Still better than the internet we had here before. Before we got Starlink, it was 10 megabits down, 10 megabits up, and that's it. That was the fastest anyone was able to offer us. So yeah, it's still an improvement. It's an expensive improvement, but it's an improvement. Okay, so starting off, we have quite a few deals here already, but we're not going to be looking for B550. We'll be looking for something a bit newer. X870A already, that's a bit too much of a budget though. B760 if you wanted to go Intel. It's a tough game motherboard, pretty much everything you can want. That is potentially... We could put a pin in this. It is still a bit of a, dead-end platform, but who cares? Then we have so much B550. If you're looking to get yourself a cheap AM4 build, there's quite a few options. I mean, as little as $100 for some of these. And then from newer AMD stuff, okay, I'm definitely not getting a Strix for $250, almost $250. If we wanted to go current gen Intel, we could go for Z890. They perform well enough, the brand new CPUs, and you get a single generation of upgrades with the brand new refresh coming, I think, later this year. So that's gonna be something. I would prefer to stick to AMD. I think they have a much stronger value proposition this generation. We do have a bundle here, a 7600X plus a B650p motherboard. So again, a motherboard that has pretty much everything you could ever need. $314.50. Am I going crazy? Is that a good deal? I think that's the first one that kind of really stood out to me. I think we could potentially go for that. And it's going to leave a lot of space in our budget for a good graphics card. And now we're just getting to random stuff. Okay, so yeah, I think we could go for this. I did not know that you could get such a good bundle on Amazon. We usually go bundle hunting on Newegg. We don't go bundle hunting enough on Amazon, but you just don't see them enough. But that could actually be, unless someone is seeing something much better here, we could potentially go for that. Especially because that motherboard on its own, I don't think it's available. And we also don't have too many other current gen affordable AMD motherboards here either. So yeah, a bunch of B550, but nothing from B650. So that way, we would be able to save quite a bit. But first, let's go to CPU and get a better idea of what we are hunting for. So we have a 5500, that's, yeah, we can get better than that on a budget here. That's a pretty big sale on a 9950X. The 70, I highly doubt any of the X3D ones are going to be on sale today. They're way too good to go on Prime Day sale. 9600X though for $165. What CPU did that one have? I think it was a 7600X, right? On a bundle. If we go for that bundle, and if we could get a motherboard for around $120 or so, we could potentially go for that. We could go for a better CPU. 5800 XT. That's last gen socket. So yeah, let's not go with that, shall we? Especially because we saw that there are some good options when it comes to a B650 motherboard. So you could keep that socket going for a long time. 9700X for $290. 99. That's not on sale. Never mind. Yeah, none of the X3D ones on sale. A bunch of sales for 12 series, well, 12 gen CPUs from Intel. Still kind of expensive though. Like I get a 12900 is a 12900, especially a K unlocked one. But still, they're really keeping a price even all these generations later. So what? I'm just going to go with that. I'm just going to go to bundle. Like, remind me, what was the CPU in there? That was a 7600X. If we can find a good motherboard for like $100-something-ish, we could potentially beat that bundle and go with that 9600X instead, but we need to find a better motherboard. You have more people joining the stream. Hello, welcome all. Again, I apologize, it's not in the regular space, and I'm sorry that there's like no even interesting background or anything. I am setting up a space downstairs. I'm setting up a space downstairs that's going to be a bit more office-y, where I can actually sit down at a proper desk and on a proper chair, not a couch. So I am setting up an office here where I can actually properly work out of and stuff, and also hopefully you can have like a proper monitor rather than just a laptop. Plus then I have my chat and like monitoring for my stream up on a TV over there. Oh, a B850E for $190. We could potentially go for a 9600X if we go for this. It would be a bit more than the bundle. But a 9600X, that's a pretty good CPU still. if there's just something a bit cheaper than that, we could totally go for that standalone 9600X. If we can't, that's not the end of the world. We could always, if we have money spent on budget, go back and okay, now we're just getting stuff for Creality printers. That's not what I want. No. Okay, let's just go AMD motherboard. Maybe that's gonna help, and filter through Prime Day deals only, because those are the rules. B550, B850, but too expensive. X870 for $190. But still, I don't think anything is going to be able to beat this deal right here. You get a really good motherboard plus a 7600X, $314. Is it worth even hunting anymore? Also, I love when I explicitly said that I'm looking for an AMD motherboard. It's still going to be Z890 and B760 boards. Oh, Amazon. Okay, yeah. Let's just stick with this. I have very low... I just don't think we're going to be able to beat this, so... I don't know how to set this up in my little spreadsheet now. So I just go CPU. That's the motherboard. I'm just going to set the price of the motherboard to 0 because it's a bundle. And then so Ryzen 5 7600X. Justin says, been building with the 9600 non-X recently. I'm wondering if someone could maybe look up while I'm doing this what exactly the performance difference is between the 7600X and the non-X. Please do, because then we could see if it's actually even worth seeing if it's if that kind of bundle is actually replaceable. Like, if there's something that's a better deal than that motherboard, than that bundle with the motherboard and the CPU. So 314 and 49, we guys have a CPU and a motherboard already. So given how we're gonna probably spend around $700 for graphics card, that still leaves about 500 for everything else. That's kind of the maths I'm going off of so far, but again, things might change. Depends on what kind of deals we have when it comes to graphics cards. What do we have? Oh, and I know I probably don't have to tell you this because every single YouTuber tells you this, but if you're planning on buying anything, literally anything on Amazon on Prime Day, use our links, which will be down in the video description below, because if you buy literally anything using those links, as long as you get to Amazon using those links, like, we get a percentage for everything you buy. And especially when it comes to things like PC components, things like graphics cards that are kind of expensive. Given how we can get anywhere from like 1 to 3% for an item, that's kind of a lot, right? Imagine if you're buying something for £1,000. Not £1,000. Like, imagine if you're buying something for $1,000, right? So then that is going to be $3. Is that the math done correctly? No, that's not the math done. That's $30 going over. If it's, for example, a 3% bounty, if it's like a 1%, then of course that's going to be a bit less. So it very much helps. Like, even if it's 1%, that's still $10 and you're paying anything extra. And it could be literally your groceries, it could be your next PC, it could be anything. But we should probably be focusing on what kind of deals we have for graphics cards here. I think this 5070 is already probably our best bet, because it's the closest to that $700 I had in mind. Oh, we could get a 9070 XT if we wanted to go AMD. That's going to be a nice debate in the live chat, guys. Are we going to go 5070 or 970 XT for a bit more? I'm so confused by some of this 9070 XT pricing here. You have one here for $750, and then you have another for $900. I'm sorry, who's paying $900 for a 9070 XT? What's so special about it apart from the fact that it's white? Probably this one's like an OC model as well, but like who's paying more for OC? That much more for OC? And why are there still 7900 XTXs that are costing you $1,000? This whole... people don't know how to price AMD graphics cards. That has become very, very apparent. And also, I'm not seeing too much in terms of other NVIDIA stuff. We could always go for a R7 350 for $122. There's some more of these like external graphics cards like the one I showcased recently. This is using the 7600M though, which I've seen there's quite a few eGPUs that use that specific chip. However, I still haven't seen anything that uses the 7800M that my external graphics card uses. I still believe that this one random product from this one random company in Hong Kong, I believe, or China, they're the only people who use this. And I'm just like, how does it happen? Did they just like negotiate something with AMD? Or did like no one else want to develop an eGPU based on this 7800M? Like, how does it happen? I know you can have guys like Valve, for example, pretty big companies, and they have the power and the money to go to AMD and go, hey, design a chip just for our thing. But like this kind of random company, like how? Or do they sign some very weird exclusivity agreement? That means that they're the only people who are allowed to make a product using the 7800M. I have actually no idea. If anyone has any idea on how that can be happening, please let me know. Anyway, another fantastic deal we could potentially consider for our build here is the VisionTech GT730, a whopping 2 gigabytes of GDDR. I believe that's just GDDR. And it apparently supports up to 4K, which I don't think so. I'd like to disagree, but I won't sue over it. I'm still absolutely amazed they can get such junk on Amazon, and someone actually bothers to set up Prime Day deals for it. Like, who's buying a HD 5450 in the year of our Lord 2025? It's one of those things where I'm almost tempted to buy some of these for sheer curiosity, for the sake of sheer curiosity. Like, get a GT10, make a video just talking about how awful it is. It's only $23 or $22, why not? But yeah, I don't think we'll be getting a better NVIDIA option than 5070. I haven't seen any 5080s, or actually, I haven't seen pretty much anything last gen as well. We have seen some last gen AMD cards, but that makes sense given how the 7900 XTX is kind of in a league of its own, hasn't really been surpassed, because that's the 9070 isn't quite a flagship, neither is the XT. So, and yeah, wow, this has to be one of the smallest selections so far in the history of these streams. We have 2 NVIDIA SKUs to choose from, both Asus, and then we have several power color and 1 XFX AMD graphics card. So, what are we going for? 5070 or 9070 XT? I'm actually not fully familiar with what the performance difference is like off the top of my head. I know that as a tech YouTuber, I should have all of the performance numbers for every single graphics cards just memorized, but I don't. So if anyone knows, you know, what we should go for here, have any suggestions? Obviously, NVIDIA, they're the widest supported ones. They have the cooler tech usually. They have DLSS 4, though you technically do have multi-frame gen as well with the 9070 XT series as well, and it's told AMD one's more expensive by almost $70, and that $70 you could put towards, like, I don't know, more memory or some more storage. I actually don't know. So let me quickly just look up what the numbers are. 5070 versus 9070 XT. to help make a bit more of an informed choice about what the performance is actually like. How many more percentage points we're gonna get? Oh wow. Okay, the difference is way higher than I remembered it being. I thought there were way more head-to-head, but nope. Wow. Okay. Then I guess that settles that, huh? And then we just have to find that $70 in our budget in something else. These are just... Oh, so it's a 5070 Ti that's kind of on par with the 9070 XT. Gotcha. Okay. Are there any... comparisons when it comes to... Okay, I don't see any comparisons when it comes to the DLSS4 versus FSR4 on the website I'm looking on, so whatever. I think we're just gonna go with our 9070 XT for this. Do people have any preference? Well, actually, okay, is there any other actually acceptably priced 9070 XT here apart from this one from Power Color? Nope. Man, the selection is just the weakest one I think we've ever seen when it comes to graphics cards. Okay, no, I can't say that. When the big... I can't select this. I forgot my mouse. I didn't bring my mouse, and I'm struggling trying to select this on a trackpad. That is what you're witnessing right now. Apart from when we had the giant GPU shortage, I haven't seen a selection this bad on Amazon Prime Day. So that is what 2/3 of our budget gone already, and a bit. So we need to find probably some ways of saving along the lines, but it's not looking too bad just yet. So let us proceed, and let us get some DDR5 RAM next video. Hey, would you look at that? The stream died. Okay, we should be live again. Hopefully, I have no idea why I missed. I was just talking about how everyone just like switched over to using mega transfers rather than megahertz when Windows did it. So now we need to see exactly what kind of RAM we want here. I think nothing will beat the Crucial Pros at the very beginning though. Obviously, we're not going to be going for anything like 64 gigs. That's way too overkill for this build. We aren't going to be going for anything with RGB. Why is the Corsair Vengeance one so expensive? So this is a pretty similar kit to the other one. Actually, it's a bit worse because it's a CL38, not a CL36. And it's like almost twice what the Crucial Pros were. Am I missing something? Or are these just like a really good deal right now? There is some CL36 6000 megahertz Corsair Vengeance right here, but then why is the other one so expensive? Okay, let's not dwell too much on RAM of all things, so let's just go with what's the difference in this kit. So this is $76.99, CL36 6000. What's the difference in this, and why is it $2 less? What's the latency on these? I don't know, and I don't want to be looking it up when we could be hunting for something more interesting than memory. So, Crucial Pros, you are making your way. No, not these. These right here. Crucial Pros, congrats, you are making your way into our 2025 build. Well, one of them. We are going to be doing another build on the 11th, which is the final day of Prime Day. Yeah, Prime Day hasn't been one day for ages, but this year they've officially given up. It's from today all the way to the 11th. So again, if from today to the 11th you're buying literally anything on Amazon for Prime Day or even for like whatever, use our links. They truly go a long way. Like, if you really hate Jeff Bezos, just imagine the fact that he will be getting less money for your purchase, and instead that money will be going towards supporting a small YouTube channel. It's like charity, you know. Okay, next up, let's just go with the storage. So The question I always ask when we are doing these streams, if it's better to go with one single big hard drive, not hard drive, SSD. Sorry, old habits die hard. One big SSD, and then have your system and your games and all your other work files on there, or have a small boot drive, and then to help you keep everything organized, and in case something fails, have everything else on a separate SSD. That's the main question. How much faster will CL30 be to CL40, and is it possible to choose RAM not in the motherboard's QVL? The QVL is never like a complete list. As long as you're buying memory from a known vendor who are known for having well-supported RAM, Corsair, Crucial, G-Skill, guys like that, then like obviously you're not going to have any problems. The motherboard vendors can never include every single kit, so it's not really going to matter. In terms of how much faster it's going to be, latency does matter. Not as much as the actual speed, but it does very much matter. And especially a latency of 30 to 40, you will notice a bit, but again, it really depends on what you're doing. If you're really dedicated, you can always just play with the timings yourself, but I would prioritize going frequency first, then timings. And again, if it's not on a QVL, as long as it's not from some like generic, complete unknown vendor, or if it's from like some, I don't know, like ECC or some very weird niche enterprise RAM, anything like that, then you'll be fine. Okay, SSD time, what do we have here? Again, let's just go with only the prime deals, and let's see what we are getting. Starting off, Acer. That is a 4 terabyte SSD for $200. Gen 4. Like, that ain't bad. Am I crazy, or that ain't bad? For 4 terabytes. Granted, one thing is that Acer's, is it just me, or is Acer's green branding? Because they are just kind of your go-to option for like a cheap laptop, or like a cheap storage drive, for example. That Acer green has just become synonymous with just not being a high-end product, and it's just being kind of slow. So even though it's a pretty good drive, like just the fact it's green, it's just not one of those very performance colors, you know, when, like black or red or purple, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm kind of surprised that Acer is still kind of sticking to it, even on what appears to be a more premium kind of product. Again, I have no idea how premium an FA200 is. I'm sorry, I'm not too familiar with Acer's NVMe product stack. So again, let me know your preference for how we should be doing this. One big SSD for everything, or a boot drive and an additional drive. Because if we are going that way, we could go for like a boot drive. We could go for a $60 Crucial P310 right here. 1 terabyte, good enough speeds, that would be perfect for just your OS, and then also, I don't know, your Adobe suite, your DaVinci Resolve, your OBS, or your kind of like main work files that can just live on that drive alongside your Windows, and then all your games and all of your kind of bigger files can go on something like a 2 terabyte one next to it. Like for example, this WD Black SN7100, which I think we've used in the last build we've done on this channel, on one of these live streams. That's available for $127.5. Plenty of external ones. I should probably narrow my search. That would probably help. So yeah, if anyone's seeing something that we could throw into the build, let me know. If we really want to stick to the idea of having a separate boot drive, there is this thing. Granted, it's Gen 3, and it's a company I've heard of Kingspec, but like, would you trust them with your OS and like your most valuable files that usually go on your main drive. You know, your downloads, your pictures, your video folders, like all of that is usually down your C drive. I don't think I would. So I think we could just stick to, man, that Acer deal though. I think we could just go for that. You know, who cares about having a separate drive when you can have 4 terabytes for $200? Okay, it's a bit overkill, and it's kind of expensive still, and it's probably going to be one of the first things to get a downgrade if we pass our budget. But I think, I don't know, do you guys think we should just stick to that? Or should we go for something a bit cheaper? We could always go for just a boring old WD Black, you know, SN7100, that's 2 terabytes. We can go for a slightly faster one, but who cares? I think we could just go for that. If we can get yourself 4 terabytes in this $1,500 build, that is a steal. And it's a steal that we are putting in our build, at least for now. Again, it may go if we are struggling a bit later. But for now, we can stick it. Okay, I need to figure something out, because here I didn't round up and here I did round up. So let's just go with a rounded up. But these here were 99 and I rounded them up. Okay, who cares? I'm not being consistent. If it bothers you that much that's not consistent, then I don't know. Just send a super chat telling me that you hate it's not consistent, that I'm rounding up or not rounding up numbers in the spreadsheet. Okay, what do we have next? Next we have our PSU. So let's go with that. For that kind of build, what are we looking for wattage wise? I think even 750 watts will be enough. We have with a 9070 XT. I would probably want to go for 850 to be on the safe side, and also to have some room to expand later. And also I forgot to press our magical little button that actually shows us stuff that we can use. We can get a pure power from Be Quiet, who are a long-time partner of the channel and whose PSUs I absolutely love. Apart from the one that exploded on me. I actually had 2 of them. They sent me, what is it called? The Dark Power Pro 13. They sent me it. I finished doing my water cooling build, and then just after like 20 minutes of running Cyberpunk, seeing if it all works, I just heard loud bang, smoke, like an awful smell, and it was gone. So they sent me another one for replacement. I was too scared to put it in my build, so I used a straight power in my main build instead. But I had that one spare, and that one also blew up when I was doing something with it. So yeah, I spoke with Be Quiet in Vegas about it. They said it's a known issue, so hopefully it's going to get solved, especially for it being the premium product, like the highest end unit. And I've seen other people on Twitter also complaining about it. So okay, before we choose a PSU, let's just consult chat, see what they're saying. Bobby says, I'm looking to upgrade to AM5 from AM4. I'm prioritizing the 9800X XD. I think you mean X3D. But struggling to find what mobile and 64 gigs of RAM to pair with it. So in terms of motherboards, we have so many videos on different motherboards. The thing is that they usually... The thing when it comes to powering the CPU, when it comes to the amount of the VRM configuration of CPU power delivery, unless you're going for something super cheap, you won't be really noticing any issues or any kind of real life problems by going for a cheaper motherboard. Granted, especially if you're going for an X3D chip, I wouldn't go too cheap. So probably in around that B8 series chipsets you want to maybe be looking. If you have the money to go for like an X series chipset, that would be also pretty fantastic, either X870 or X670. Again, don't look at it when it comes to, you know, don't look for a motherboard to match your CPU. Look for a motherboard that has the features you need. look for a motherboard that has the right amount of USB ports and other stuff in the back. Look for a motherboard that has the right amount of M.2 slots that you need. Or look for a motherboard that has Wi-Fi if needed. That kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing you want to prioritize. When it comes to RAM, we saw that awesome deal on the Crucial Pros earlier for Prime Day. There's a lot of good deals on Prime Day for memory, as you saw. So the Crucials are a good price, and also the Course of Vengeances were a good price. But see, those are for 32 gig kits, so you may want to see exactly for 64 gig kits what is available there. And whatever you do, make sure to use the Amazon links, because again, it does help a lot. You don't pay anything extra, and we get some money gets reinvested, so that one day, hopefully, I can stream here in our house in Poland from a proper office rather than just an ugly wall with the window in the background. Hampopper says, I've been looking at prices for a while, and these Prime Day deals are a very small saving to none. Well, what they do is set the price much higher and add a percentage markdown to the original price. Yeah, I believe... Is Honey still kind of in the... is Honey still sleeping on the couch when it comes to online internet users? Because I know they have a tool that kind of shows you the price history. But I don't know if people are still like hitting them or something. Even then, the rules of our game right here is to only do stuff that is on Prime Day deal, even if it isn't a good value. And we had many examples of this in many of the streams before, where there's something that I just wanted to include as part of these builds, but we just can't, because the rule is, the fun of this game is that it has to have this little sticker right here, this little label saying Prime Day deal, otherwise it does not count. Rahit says, is a bronze certified PSU good for $1,200 PC build? Yes, again, won't make too much of a difference, but at that kind of price, you could probably get a really good value one that's like at least silver or gold. You don't really see too many gold PSUs. Like the difference between bronze, silver, and gold is so small that it's been so long since I saw a silver rated PSU. Pretty much everyone just goes for gold because the jump from high-end bronze to low-end gold on the kind of efficiency ratings that are in place, it is so small that most vendors just go straight to gold. Hey, speak of the devil and he shall appear. There's the explodey boy. I wonder if they fixed it for now. I wonder if they fixed it by now, and if this is actually going to explode in your build or not. It is on Prime Day deals, if anyone wants to risk it. $400 for a 1600 watt PSU. If you want to risk your PC build, be my guest. I sound bitter, but it happens to everyone, and I'm just joking because I like Be Quiet like me, and we just like to have a good laugh. Even if the PSU tried to kill my PC. My brand new PC, which I just finished building, by the way. Okay, we went on so many tangents there. We should probably start looking for this PSU, shall we? So what? 750 watts was probably going to be enough for a 9070 XT. Again, I would prefer to go for an 850 if we find one here that's a good price. There's the Thermaltake one. It is non-modular, but it is $80. It's gold rated. Would you trust a Thermaltake PSU, guys? Let me know. Because that is one of our better options right now. I think we may need to potentially get rid of that 4TB SSD later, but I don't want to do it just yet. I want to see if there's anything else we can get first. If we don't trust Thermaltake, we could go... Wait a second. This is $80 modular. What was the other one? Oh, okay, so you can get a non-modular one and a modular one for the same price. Oh no, wait, that's 850. And I believe that one was just 800. No, Thermaltake. Your Prime Day deals make no sense. You can get a modular unit for the exact same price. And again, if you don't trust Thermaltake, you can always just spend $10 more for a nice MSI unit right here, who I'd trust a lot more. It's also gold, also 850. Do we just go with Thermaltake? I think there's like no reason to not go with Thermaltake for now. Like, they're not like a complete like generic Chinese brand or anything. We like Thermaltake around here, even though they are making some very, very weird products. I still need to finish doing some like videos about them from Computex. Though we mostly shorts. Like, some of the products they've shown off are just so completely bizarre. But again, unless anyone says otherwise, we're adding this in. It's like we're at a wedding, guys, you know. Speak now or for forever hold your peace, or however it goes. $80. And that is this PSU done. I know that that LTT Labs has like a PSU section where they test PSUs. Have they done this PSU? This is like the first time I've thought about LTT Labs in literally ages. Like, I know it was supposed to be a big deal for LMG, but has it actually been that big of a thing? I know they had a dedicated channel just for reviewing PSUs, I believe. And they to make it work, they used like a very simple script. I think it was like actually an AI generated voice plus just some very simple shots of the product. So just to give you a proper rundown, I tried looking up that channel recently, and I don't think it exists. So I don't think they have a channel anymore. I think they gave up on doing all those separate channels for different products, and I think it's just a website for now. So I want to see if they have the GF1, and if so, if it's good. They don't, however, they do have one for the GF3, which appears to be a slightly different model. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at right here. So this is the GFA3, which I assume is like a step-up model. And it just says, Labs does not recommend this PSU. Both units failed before completing the full test suite. As a result, we cannot ensure its performance under high loads or its potential impact on your computer. Yikes. Anyway, buy it here using our Amazon links. Okay, I can't blame him for that. We're all playing the same game, and it's just probably part of the template for the website. Wow. Has LTT Labs actually been useful for the first time for me when I'm like doing one of these? Granted, it's not the same product. It's they haven't done the GF-A1. But, I mean, do we want to test, do you want to trust the A1 if this is what happened to what is, again, probably the more premium unit, given how 3 is larger than 1. I'm kind of really showing off my advanced maths knowledge there. I don't know, what do you guys think about this website? I have so many mixed feelings about this whole LTT Labs project that they've been going through. Oh no, they do have like a PSU circuit channel still. Like, why wasn't it like linked anywhere? Huh, weird. Like, have any of you actually used LTT Labs and the website to actually buy anything? And do you also care about so much of the kind of things that they are analyzing here? A lot of this shows that they are putting the due diligence. A lot of this is more just showing that they know what they're talking about, rather than assuming that the reader is actually going to sit down and read and analyze it. I don't think anyone here is going to watch here and look at these graphs. Those graphs are only there to make them look more like they know what they're talking about, so that there is something to back up just this one blurb, which 99% of the people are going to read at the top of the page, and that is it. I don't think anyone's going to read the rest. So I wonder how much they are actually getting back, given how much it costs to run all of these tests. How are the people running all these tests? How much money they're actually making from LTT Labs. Obviously, for videos where they are using some of that research in the main LTT or like short circuit videos, that makes a bit more sense. But that is still like, how much do they get out of reviewing this PSU and the price, like the price of the time that's gone into it versus, you know, what they get out of it, like how much it costs versus how much they're getting out of it. I actually don't know. And again, do people actually care about all the details? That's the kind of things I'm worried about. But oh well, let's just go back to the main page here. I think we'll be saying no thanks to the one from Thermaltake, and we'll be switching over to the one from MSI, which costs us a bit more, but we're not too hurting right now. I think we could be soon. Actually, I said that. I just noticed what our budget is. Our budget is... Oh no, not our budget. Our total so far. 1,436 and 98 cents. And for our remaining budget, so $60 or so, we have to get ourselves a case and potentially some fans. Rocket says, I didn't get a single thing in my head from the graph. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. How many people actually care about that kind of stuff? Especially, okay, with PSUs are kind of objective in a lot of ways, but they also have similar pages for stuff like keyboards. Keyboards are so much more subjective, and of course they do some testing, but at the same time, I don't get some of the testing they're doing. Okay, I get that they're doing the testing. My only worry is how many people will care, especially when it comes to things that are so much more subjective and things that are usually just a lot better when you try them out in person. Obviously not everyone can. Like, even in a country like the UK, which is a fairly rich country with a lot of interest in computers, I can't think of a single place I can go and test keyboards. I know in the US you guys are lucky and have micro centers and stuff like that. And I don't think too many people are just going to be, you know, buying a mouse on Amazon or a keyboard, testing it out, then returning it, then buying another one, returning it. Okay, let's just get a case. Should I make like a whole video? Should I make like a whole video talking about the LTT Labs and my opinions on it? I think that could be kind of fun. Okay, PC case next. Handbobber says, what about the ASRock B850MX Wi-Fi R2 with a Ryzen 990? Let's quickly look that up, shall we? Let's give some advice right on camera. So go ASRock B850-MX. Why do motherboards have such complicated names now? Wi-Fi. There we go. Like, why do you need an X after? Okay, let's just. It's $130. Let me quickly show you what I'm looking at. Looks fine. What kind of power delivery we have here? It's only a single pin. Like, not a single pin, but like only a single connector. Only a single 8-pin. I would say that's maybe 6+1+1 VRM. It's very much on the cheap side, especially for 9900. Like, I know that CPUs... If you can... How do I put it? If you can afford a 9900, you can probably also squeeze a slightly better motherboard in that budget. I think I'll put it that way. Especially because it will also make your life so much easier in terms of other things like, for example, the rear I/O. You literally only have, what, 5 Type A ports here. That's it. You have 1 USB Type-C port. You have Wi-Fi 6E, that's good at least. Okay, and how many... And I believe you only have like 2 M.2 slots. You only have two slots for your RAM, so you can even expand afterwards if you wanted to. I would go for something. I would go for something better if I were you. Especially for a 9900. Okay, let's go back to looking at PC cases. And seeing what we can get in our... What did they say? $64? I think we have something like that, yeah. What kind of case can we get for $64? Not much so far. That's the answer. Thankfully, like I said, we have a couple of things where you can go back and downgrade them if necessary. But I would not want to do it unless completely necessary, because we had some pretty good finds. That 4TB SSD, I'm really happy with that. Issue is that we may need to sacrifice it, and I kind of don't want to. We could always risk it with the possibly explodey PSU from Thermaltake, because that could give us just the right amount we need, because there's like nothing here. There's nothing here for $64. So I think what do we exclude? I swear we used to find cases for less than 64. You could go for a test bench. You can just plop your parts in here. Prime day deal. It does technically count as part of the rules. You can technically do it. Why not? Actually, that would be a pretty funny plot twist for one of these live streams. $2,000 PC, or the fastest PC parts, and then we cheap out on the case by going for a $20 test bench. There's a Salmon case, that's an MATX, never mind. There's this thing, that's $68. That is, oh, Red Dragon coming in with the clutch. GC218M. MATX, never mind. I should read ahead before getting too excited. Those test benches keep calling my name. There's another one. Okay. Deepcool makes good cases. Yeah, they do. Issue is that I don't think there's any on that I've seen on the sale so far. Is that really how they're trying to sell the case? Oh no, it's literally just an LED display for a case. That's how they decided to sell it. Granted, there was a lot of stuff like that at Computex, so... Oh, there is Dark Flash, ATX Mid Tower. It's white though, it would like not match the rest of the build unless they're doing one in black. They do. Dark Flash came in clutch with this one. Oh, I just remembered something. We missed something else. We don't have a CPU cooler. So we definitely need to get rid of something. Okay, let's just go back to our spreadsheet here. And see what we can get at and what we can add in, because if I got a CPU cooler, why is there no a CPU cooler in this spreadsheet? This is just the template I had. Did I just... Why? Is this like the mistake that someone was talking about in the live chat that I missed? If so, I do very much feel dumb. Rocket Kumar says, can you please look up the MSI Z790 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi? I believe we do have a video on that one. I'm 90% sure we do have a video covering that one if it's good or not on this very channel. And again, if you do buy it, use our links. I know it's obnoxious, but I'm an obnoxious YouTuber that's going to remind everyone all through Prime Days, it should be called now. Soon it's going to be called Prime Week, because it's going to be like 7 days. Okay, we need to get rid of something. Obviously, the first candidate to go is the giant SSD. I'm sorry, Asa. I wanted to give you a chance, but it was not meant to be. We've spent too much already. So, we need to find ourselves some more storage. But first, let's get a CPU cooler and then work everything out after that. There we go. And as always, Prime Day deals only. And let's see. The Dual Core says to look at the McCube 110 tower. Is it available on Prime Day deals? Because again, our rule is if it does not have that Prime Day deals label, it does not count as part of the game. Okay, what should we go for here? Literally anything will be fine. Especially because we're going for a 7600X. Even this Cooler Master Hyper 212. There's like bulk standard things gonna be fine. We could go for something a bit nicer with a Pure Rock Pro 3. It's not too much more expensive. And it'll be so much quieter and give you some more room for overclocking. I'm not seeing anything amazing when it comes to AIO prices. They kind of all start off in like the $60-something range. But I think if nothing can beat that one from Be Quiet, I think we can go for that. Oh yeah, I forgot Be Quiet have the RGB line now. And that costs $49.90. The other one cost $45.90. Okay, we don't have a lot of money left. I'm sorry, we have to sacrifice the RGB, the $4 we saved in RGB to go for this, I think. Unless anyone spots anything else that's a really, really good deal. Let me know now. This right here is also a dual tower setup, and it is going to be a bit less. But again, I heard of Gamidas before. Do I trust their fans to be quiet enough not to drive you crazy? I don't know. So for now, I'm just gonna go with the Be Quiet. And see what the situation looks like now. $45.90. That means we have a bit of money left. We soon to get storage though, and that's gonna be our next big thing. So NVMe SSD. Show me what you've got, Amazon. Please be something good. Okay, I already know. It's probably going to just end up being the SN7100. I think we're going to abandon the idea of going with 2 separate drives. We could always go for 2 of these Crucial P310s if you really wanted to have a separate boot drive, which I'm still in favor of. I think if you can have a separate boot drive, I think you should do that and have another one for everything else. It's a bit slower, but not by much, by 150 megabytes. And it's gonna be, in the end, 2 of these are gonna still be $7.50 cheaper. Bobby Hoskins says, what's your opinion on pairing a 9800 X3D with a Bead 50 Airs Elite? Oh, I do like the Elite motherboards myself. I like the design, and they're usually pretty feature rich. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we also have a video on a Bead 50 Elite from the Euros, if you want to check that out. If you want to see exactly, if you want to get a proper breakdown of what that motherboard includes. But yeah, they are pretty good motherboards from Euros every single generation. So yeah, should we just go for 2 of those? We lose 150 megabytes, but like who's going to be reaching this kind of read and write speeds naturally anyway? So let's just go for 2 of these. They're still Gen 4, still fast enough. So whatever. Boom, and $120. No, that's... Didn't I press copy? Boom. Okay. That means we have actually quite a bit of money left for a case. We only have like no money left for any additional fans, but I don't think we'll need them, especially given how good of a CPU cooler we have, and hopefully we're just gonna have to hope the case comes with some good fans for our graphics card, which is a 9070 XT, which I'll remind you. Okay. There was that one that gave me so much hope before. That was the M80X one. We could, in the end, we didn't go for a Thermaltake PSU, but we could go for a Thermaltake case. That will give us plenty of good airflow towards the graphics card and our CPU. It looks good. It's a fish tank design, which all of you guys love nowadays, I know, given how much they're selling and how literally every single company that was at Computex this year in Taipei, they all just had fish tanks of various designs. And like, how many different ways can you design a fish tank case? There's only so many combinations, and yet all of these companies are still showing up with just a slightly different looking fish tank. How can you have 100 different, slightly different cases like that? How can you make it all different? Yeah, so to Rocket asking in chat that our budget is $1,500. We could always challenge ourselves for something a bit less, because we'll be doing a second live stream on the 11th for the final day of Prime Day. As nonsensical as that sentence sounds, the final day of Prime Day. So we could go for something like $1,000 and really try to challenge ourselves with what we can come up with. But right now we still have, how much? $93. That one from Dark Flash that I was thinking about getting earlier, that's still pretty decent. Then there's this one from Dark Flash as well. Gives you that fish tank design. If we have the budget, we may as well spend it on a nice looking case. It's just like, what do we care about? I think the Thermaltake is the nicest looking one. I myself would never buy it, because if you know me, you know that I will never ever purchase a PC case that does not have an optical drive bay, because I'm just stubborn like that. But it comes with 4 pre-installed fans, which means that we don't have to spend any more money on that. And it looks phenomenal. It'll put your 9070 XT on good display. Like, I know it's on the more expensive side, but again, we may as well reach our budget if we have it spare, especially because I can't think of anything else we could really add here for those like a couple of dollars more. So let's go with that, shall we? Does it all need to be Prime deal? Yes, that is the #1 rule of this game. By only doing stuff that is on sale as part of the Prime deal, Prime Day deal category on Prime, on Amazon in general. So it has to have a little red label. Otherwise, it does not count. That is how we do it. And how much did I say it costs? It costs $92. Which means that our first Prime Day build of 2025 comes in at almost a budget of $1,500, $1,499.39. But overall, it's not the best one. We've had some amazing deals in the previous years, but it is still, I mean, you get a 7600 and a 9070 XT. What more could you ask for? I'm disappointed we could not fit in that 4TB drive. If you're on the lookout for a good deal, you can look into getting that Acer drive. Like 4TB for $200. So yeah, some things I'm not super happy about. I believe there was also a build we previously did that was actually actually had 64 gigs rather than 32. But whatever, we are gonna have another crack at this when I return on the 11th. So until then, this is what it looks like, and if you want to see some more streams, then it's pretty much going to be a whole week of stream, because tomorrow is the Samsung event, Galaxy Unpacked, so we're definitely going to be doing that. So hopefully we're not going to have so many issues with frame drops. I'll figure something. I don't know how else I can probably improve the setup. That's the issue. Like, I'm already running via Ethernet, so it's not like I can get closer to the router. It's just that Starlink sometimes has its good days, sometimes has its bad days. That's the kind of issue with it. You just have to catch it in a good mood. And yeah, knowing them, it's probably just like if someone annoyed Elon on Twitter, then Starlink is also just gonna dip in performance as a result. And if Elon's having a good day, then he's like, oh fine, I'll give you some more bandwidth on Starlink. You can enjoy it. So it just really depends on what kind of day it is. And I really hate the fact that we have to pay for Starlink either as well, because like, I don't want to be giving more money to him. But at the same time, just like let you know other options. Like I was saying at the start of the stream, the only regular internet option, because you can't get fiber here, the only regular internet option was 10 megabits down, 10 megabits up on copper, and that's like the fastest anyone was able to give us. So unfortunately, yeah, we have to stick to that. But still, what also made this stream a lot better is, if we can just quickly grab it, Ugreen actually sent over, as part of the Prime Day deals, their amazing little dock. So thank you guys so much for that. So as you can see, I have my Ethernet. Actually, let me just quickly switch over to the full view. There we go. So I have my Ethernet, and I have my Stream Deck, all of my other accessories connected up via this one dock. It is absolutely awesome. I can also connect two displays up to it. I currently have my secondary display, which is basically just TV, connected up to that external graphics card instead. But this thing is absolutely awesome. Thank you guys so much from Ugreen for sending us over for this stream. If you want to get it yourself, then they have some pretty good Prime Day deals on this, so you can very much check it out. So hopefully you liked this live stream right here. Again, if you really love listening to me ramble about just everything, another live stream coming tomorrow. That's going to be Galaxy Unpacked, and then on the 11th, that's going to be our second Prime Day build. But for now, I think that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream despite all of the issues it had. If anyone has anything else to say in the live chat, any other questions, or if you just want to send a super chat so we can, well, now it's just saving up for CES. That's the next big show. I know there's like, you know, iPhone stuff like that along the way in Berlin, but like that's Berlin. Going to Berlin isn't expensive, but going to Las Vegas is. Like, hotels there are expensive, the flights there are expensive. So thank you so much, Justin, for sending over 10 Australian dollars. That is all going towards CES now, because that's going to be very expensive, but we're going to be showing off so much awesome stuff there as well, like we did last year. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and if you did, make sure to subscribe, like, whatever.